Welcome to SI Now. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Madeline Burke. And Madeline, another day.
Another trade.
The NFL's crazy offseason continues as the Patriots traded wide receiver Brandin Cooks to the Rams for the 23rd overall pick in this year's draft. Obviously, the initial reaction for a move involving the Pats tends to be that they know what they're doing. But given the age of some of their core, Brady of course, and that they now have 2 first-round and 2 second-round picks for the first time since 1998, are we watching New England rebuilding on the fly?
Well, first of all, I have to point out that MMQB's Peter King wrote a great piece on this trade, not only on the implications on the Rams and the Patriots, but also on the Giants and the upcoming NFL draft. It's definitely worth your time if you want to check that out on SI.com or on MMQB. But the Pats have a lot of holes to fill, so I think having 2 first and 2 second-round picks is going to be key for them. Holes, notably like they lost Nate Solder, their left tackle, to the Giants in free agency. They need a backup to their 41-year-old quarterback, Tom Brady, after Jimmy Garoppolo left to San Francisco, and they've got no real heir apparent there in New England. There's a lot of quarterbacks. They could get a second-tier quarterback in this year's draft. This team, also tried to re-sign Cooks, but per New England's way of doing things, they didn't see him or really any receiver at being a $15 to $17 million a year guy. So that's where they couldn't meet in the middle. Eventually he walked, but they'll find somebody that's more of their type of play and of their type of, value.
That's the thing with draft picks, right? It's not just about the potential, it's that they're cost controlled, and clearly New England is looking into that aspect of things. Then there's the Rams side of things. They've now acquired Cooks, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, and Ndamukong Suh. Is going all in the right move for them?
Absolutely. I mean, they've acquired now 4 Pro Bowl caliber players in the last month with these guys. It's a quality thing, as well as, adding Cooks to a solid receiving core. They got Cooper Kupp in the slot. They got Robert Woods and Cooks on the outside, Josh Reynolds, Tavon Austin. I think this is going to be a solid team. The one thing, though, is Cooks is a looming 2019 free agent, as well as Aaron Donald, perhaps the best D lineman in the game. So they're going to have to shore up one or both of these guys if this is working out.
Well, McVay is the head coach, and he's also the play caller. So I'm sure he is infatuated with what he might be able to do here. I will have a word of caution. When it comes to the NFL, it isn't exactly a correlation between bringing in free agents and having on-field success, because there are so many moving parts to a football team. It's not like basketball or baseball where you're getting that guaranteed production.
Well, and an interesting thing, too, is the Rams had previously tried to acquire Cooks from New Orleans before the Patriots got him, and so now they ended up getting their guy. But to baseball, just 4 games after belting 2 homers in his Yankees debut, Giancarlo Stanton struck out 5 times and was booed in New York's 11-4 blowout win, yes, I said win, over the Rays Tuesday in the Bronx. Now, Stanton owned it, though, saying, "I was awful today. I put up a performance like that. You should get some boos." Were Yankees fans right to boo their new star, though?
Of course not. I mean, this is ridiculous. What are they, being meta here? They want to be talked about where the Yankees fans were so tough. Even Stanton in his home debut can be booed. It's not like the guy is out there trying to strike out. I mean, it's one thing if he was dogging it. It's another thing, if he had a fight out there or something that you could actually boo. But simply having a bad performance this early in the season, in a rainy day in April, if you're working under the premise that the fans influence a player positively or negatively, what's the positive outcome of booing a guy right off the bat?
Accountability, I think. I mean, they say, Giancarlo Stanton, do better. We know you can do better. We know you've got better in you. And I think any player, you ask any baseball player around the league, they know if they come to New York, and not just to New York, but in pinstripes, the media, the fans are very smart and will hold you to a high standard. So they're holding him to that standard. They say, you know what, we know you can do better than 5 whiffs like that. Show us.
I think he already knew that. Look, if I botched a read or a point, I wouldn't want the crew to be booing at me. I want them to pat me on the back.
I'll boo you, though. I'll boo you.
I know you will.
Gotta call you out.
Meanwhile, the big fight scheduled for Cinco de Mayo is off. Facing a suspension for his 2 doping violations, which he blames on tainted meat, Canelo Alvarez has withdrawn from his meeting with Gennady Golovkin for their planned bout. How big a blow is this to Canelo in boxing?
I think it's a very big blow. First of all, if you are a professional boxer, if you're a professional athlete, you have to be held accountable for what you put in your body and what you are ingesting. And, Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez, actually pointed out, he says, you know what? You have to be ignorant and live under a rock to not know that this hasn't been a problem in Mexico before, talking about the tainted meat, which is what he's claiming that this doping thing is about. And his coach and managers are butchers. They own meat markets. So this is no strange thing. You know that this is in the meat. If you're going to eat this meat, you're going to know that this is going to affect your sample. So, I don't know. I'm questioning this. This is not the first time he's been called out for that. I think that this is kind of Bush League to say, like, oh, it's just the meat. I'm sorry. You got to do better. You got to take more responsibility for what you're putting in your body if you're going to be fighting on an elite level.
It's a bad look for Canelo, but I've learned to not say definitively it's a bad look for boxing, because we can't every time something like this happens go, is this the end of boxing? Is this a bad thing for boxing? And then we wind up talking about it again. I promise you, if these two guys fight, let's say in September, the hype will be even greater, because people know the sport is rampant with cheating. People know the sport is rampant with corruption, yet the boxing fan base sticks by. It's not the mainstream sport that it once was, but I don't think these sort of things have any sort of influence on the sort of desire to watch a big fight like this.
I don't think it's about the desire to watch a big fight. I think it's the dangers involved as well, though. You've got two elite athletes who are training, who are strong, who are delivering power hits on each other, punching each other in the head, in the body. If you add in performance-enhancing drugs and increase that strength to a potentially dangerous level, that's not only an unfair playing field, it's also just a danger. It's a worry. All right, to the NBA, the Cavaliers came away with a 112-106 win over Toronto Tuesday night. LeBron put up 27 points, capped with an acrobatic reverse layup, after which James walked within a few feet of Toronto's bench, pounded his chest, and screamed, "I'm still a problem." Now, Cleveland is clearly gaining momentum heading into the postseason. Larry Drew, who's been keeping the coach's seat warm in Ty Lue's absence, says the Cavs are just scratching the surface. So does Toronto have a chance against Cleveland in the postseason, or are the Cavs just rolling right now?
Nope, Toronto doesn't have a chance. That game should have come with a spoiler alert that what's going to happen to the Raptors in the postseason will happen again. And it's not just about Toronto and some of their struggles, or maybe the fact that they just have LeBron James in their head. The Cavs are getting better. They're getting healthier. They've got their rotation back. LeBron's playing at a crazy level. They're 8-1 since Kevin Love has returned to the lineup. I do think we're going to see the Cavs rolling, and I do think, once again, we're going to see the Cavs roll through the Eastern Conference.
I do think LeBron has been clutch for this team, but the reason he's had to step up to that level is because the Cavs have been notoriously deficient on defense, and they really have to fix those holes heading into the postseason. The Sixers, though, a team that is nipping at the heels of the Cavs. Rookie Ben Simmons hit a new milestone Tuesday night. He's become just the second NBA player to reach 1,200 points, 600 rebounds, and 600 assists in a rookie season. Now, Philly legend Julius Erving had some high praise for the Rook, saying of Simmons, quote, "He's a once-in-a-decade, maybe once-in-a-lifetime type player." And Dr. J isn't the only one praising the Sixers. Charles Barkley called it, saying, quote, "I'll make a prediction. The Eagles won, Villanova won. The Sixers are going to win the championship." What do you make of all this Philly love right now?
Well, if Charles Barkley said it, it's almost sure to not happen. But I do like the Philly love, and I like the Sixers. In fact, if I'm handicapping right now, the chances to come out of the Eastern Conference, assuming Embiid gets back healthy, I'd go Cavs 1 and I'd go Sixers 2. To the Simmons point, if the entire league folded and you did an expansion draft from scratch, the two players that I would consider starting a team with are Ben Simmons and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the tiebreaker would go to whoever develops a jump shot faster. And maybe I would even lean Simmons a little bit because he handles the ball so much, and there's some extra value in being the guy who's creating for everybody else.
And you got to give a little bit of a hat tip to having that, like, red shirt season, almost being injured last year, and being able to watch and evolve to the game, and then being able to step in and play at this elite level. They're playing well without Embiid. Once he returns, I think they could be something to mess with. A tradition unlike any other, and our own Ryan Aselta is out at Augusta National. Ryan, it's been less than a year since Tiger Woods said he wasn't sure if he'd ever play competitive golf again. Now he's back on the grand stage, making his return to the Masters and looking healthy. Now, Tiger called himself a walking miracle at this week's press conference, despite not having played in the event since 2015 and not having won it since 2005. So can Tiger win the Masters this year?
Can he win, Madeline? Yeah, he can win. Obviously, he has such a high comfort level here at Augusta. And the fact that he is simply back at Augusta has the anticipation level through the roof. It's got to be the most anticipated Masters in the last maybe 20, 25 years, maybe ever, having Tiger back and playing well. You know, he's coming off a couple good finishes, a second place in Tampa, a fifth place finish at Bay Hill. And Tiger clearly is comfortable at Augusta. He's won here 4 times, but this is a different type of Tiger Woods. If you hear him talk, he's much more open with the media, how he's feeling. Let's face it, he played a practice round on Tuesday with Phil Mickelson. That never, ever happens. Phil and Tiger have had a frosty relationship, a chilly relationship over the years. Now they've become better friends, and they're out there joking around playing a practice round. So Tiger is loose. This is a brand new Tiger Woods. His expectation level has come down quite a bit. And yes, he can play his way around this golf course, no problem. His last start was 2015 here, and he finished 17th when he wasn't playing well and he was dealing with health issues as well. So yes, Tiger can win, but he's got to get it going on the weekend here at Augusta.
I get why people are excited about Tiger. I find it kind of crazy that he's the favorite. The other favorite, Jordan Spieth, can he get over any of the lingering issues he's had and win again?
Yeah, Jordan's had some issues, Robin. Not only what happened to him a couple years ago, the meltdown with a 5-stroke lead going into the back nine, and then the quadruple bogey on the 12th hole, but recently Jordan's had some issues. He's talked about having a lack of confidence lately. He's one of the top putters on the PGA Tour, and all of a sudden his putter has gone away from him a little bit. He got it going a little bit last week in Houston, but hearing him talk yesterday, he talked about if it's not this year, he knows he'll have another chance to win. He'll be able to win again. That doesn't sound like a guy who's confident going into this particular Masters, saying to himself, he can win, he will win. Now, his track record is phenomenal. He's played the event 4 times. He has a win, 2 seconds, and he has the 11th place finish. So his worst finish is 11th in 4 years here at Augusta. So the course suits him very well. But coming into this year, this week, his game is really not where it should be, and his confidence level isn't there as well. So I don't think it's going to be a great week for Jordan unless all of a sudden that putter heats up. I don't see him really being at the top of the leaderboard come Sunday.
Now, world number 1 Dustin Johnson is back after being forced to withdraw last year after a freak accident, falling and injuring his back the night before the start of the event. Now, despite being world number 1, he's behind Spieth and Woods in the latest odds to win his first green jacket. Is that a fair ranking for him?
Yeah, if you can go under the radar as the number 1 player in the world, DJ is doing that. He hasn't played great as of late, and he hasn't played the Masters in a couple years, obviously, when he had to withdraw on Thursday of the Masters last year, as you said, Madeline, with that back injury after the mysterious fall. I talked with Dustin 2 weeks ago in Austin. We sat down for a long interview and it was all about the Masters and coming back a year later. And he said this year's been tough for him because he was so hot a year ago. If you remember, he had won 3 events in a row leading up to the Masters and then had to withdraw. He says he's tried all year long to get back to that level of play, and he hasn't been able to do it. Now, physically, he said he's fine, but the game was at such a high level a year ago, he hasn't been able to find it. Dustin Johnson, though, is extremely, extremely longest player on the tour, so he can dominate a course like Augusta if he is playing well and hitting it straight. The track record lately hasn't been playing very well, so we'll see what he can come with this week. But he's the world number 1, and he's probably the most gifted and talented player on the tour right now. So to count him out would be crazy. And like I said, a sleeper pick at number 1 in the world, it just doesn't match up. He's just too good to not think about this week.
Now, Rory McIlroy still needs the Masters to complete the career Grand Slam. Now, considering how close he's been and how well suited McIlroy is for this tournament, are you surprised that the Masters is the missing piece for the Northern Irishman?
Well, Madeline, he had the Masters in his hands with a 4-shot lead on Sunday a bunch of years back, I believe back in 2011, when he just completely collapsed. He wasn't ready to win the Masters at that point in his career. This is a different Rory McIlroy, a much more mature Rory McIlroy, and this is a guy who is now ready to complete that career Grand Slam. Every year going into the Masters, the talk has been the career Grand Slam. A lot of pressure on Rory. I think having Tiger back, I think having Phil in the mix has taken some of the attention away from Rory, and I think that's a good thing. He comes in a little bit under the radar, even though that storyline is still there, trying to complete the career Grand Slam. And he's played this course very well. Last 4 years, he's had top 10s every time here at the Masters. He's been my pick all along since December, saying that this is the year he gets it done. He's played 90 holes here in the last week or 2 in practice rounds. So he's clearly motivated to win this career Grand Slam. He wants that green jacket. He's my pick, though, this year, Rory McIlroy, to win the Masters, because I just think he's ready. Sometimes you just have to be ready to take that next step in your career. McIlroy is there.
Thanks, Ryan. We know that you're ready for this all to get underway.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
The Masters about to begin, but for the struggling Brooklyn Nets, the NBA season is almost over. Their injured point guard, Jeremy Lin, his work just beginning. SITV, Sports Illustrated's new subscription streaming service, has had exclusive access to Lin's rehab and his burgeoning off-court interests. In our latest installment of The Life of Lin, we go behind the scenes of his esports team. Oh,
cool. Are we rolling? We just finished up at the NBPA offices and we're headed to Brooklyn to check out the VGJ guys. It's my esports Dota 2 team. It started off as a way for me and my brothers to really keep in touch as we all went our different directions. The one thing that we always tried to do is play video games, and we would end up talk on the mic, ask each other how we were doing, and then it turned into something that oh shoot, there's opportunities to really be involved in this industry, and the video game industry is just so young. It has a very college feel, you and your homies in a dorm room and eating, snacks and different things like that. With sports, it's my body can only withstand 3 hours of intense work, but Dota, you could play 10 hours, 12 hours. I mean, they work really, really hard.
UFC 223 is Saturday, April 7th, and we're pleased to be joined now by Fox Sports UFC analyst Jimmy Smith. Jimmy, this is a jam-packed card with 2 title fights headlining the main events. Let's start with the ladies, though. Rose Namajunas defends her strawweight title for the first time in a rematch with Joanna Jędrzejczyk. What strategy do you predict both these fighters will have heading into the rematch?
Yeah, can lightning strike twice? I guess that's what everybody's wondering. The thing is, Jędrzejczyk had a fight she wasn't prepared for. Rose Namajunas, known more for her ground game, her takedown, ended up knocking her out. So this fight, to me, is all about adjustments. Can Jędrzejczyk come back and change her striking game to adjust to a fighter she wasn't ready for the first time? And, Rose Namajunas, you have to wonder about her evolution. Was it the fact that she had a great fight that one night, or is this the new Rose Namajunas? To me, those are the big questions, is what adjustments they make for the opponent they face.
How much pressure is on Joanna to recapture her championship?
A ton. I mean, champions define themselves by their ability to have gold and keep gold. It becomes a huge part of your identity. It becomes who you are. It's a goal you've been working on for years. And once you have it, to lose that it shatters a lot of fighters. So reclaiming the title, also being able to do it so soon, getting the rematch right away, it's a huge opportunity for her, and she knows she has to make the most of it.
All right, well, as for the men, who do you believe will walk away as the undisputed lightweight champion in this one?
Well, right now, everyone's talking about Khabib. Nurmagomedov is one of the best in the world, not only with his takedown, his ground and pound, his finishing ability. He's like a Terminator. He just walks forward and has crushed everybody, 25-0, which is unheard of in modern mixed martial arts. I mean, he's just been unstoppable.
And the belt is an important factor. Now, many expect Conor McGregor to be stripped of his lightweight belt before this matchup. He's gone for quite some time. Should fans come to the realization that he may never step foot in the octagon again?
I think most MMA fans have that understanding that it might not happen. Most MMA fans are aware of that. They know that he might not, but they hold out hope that he will. Obviously, to take on the winner of this fight and have a mega fight, to have Conor come back to that, would be huge for everyone in the sport. And there's also that X factor of, there comes a time when people move on, the sports move on, the sport moves on, the fans move on. You have to hit while you can. And the winner of this fight, being the champion, having the belt, Conor's going to want to come back and take that moment away from the winner, and I think he certainly could.
So if he does return, you think that would be the most intriguing matchup for him, the winner of this one?
It makes the most sense. I mean, Conor's not the kind of guy to wait in line. He's not the kind of guy to, kind of earn his stripes back. And, you want to make the biggest fight you possibly can when that opportunity is available, and there's no bigger fight than that.
All right, well, Conor dabbled in boxing. Another fighter seems to be interested in joining the MMA before the end of the year. Floyd Mayweather. Now, he's been quoted saying that he believes he's the face of the sport. As someone who has studied and trained in MMA, is he disrespecting the sport for believing he can compete in the octagon?
Well, you only have so many years to get good at something. That's the nature of life. He spent his entire life boxing. And the amount of time it takes to get proficient in modern MMA, I mean, 5-6 years you're getting started to a lot of people. I mean, you got to remember, we look at a fighter's career. You don't look at how many years they spent on the mat, how many years they spent training before they got into the octagon for the first time. And so the number of years it would take is extraordinary, especially at his age, with all he's been through and all he's put into boxing to be the best in the world. How much does he have left to put into MMA? That's the big question.
All right, well, a lot to look forward to with UFC 223 Saturday, April 7th. The prelims begin on FS1 at 8 p.m. Eastern, with the pay-per-view starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. Jimmy Smith, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
New beef alert! LeBron James versus Nick Saban. How did this come about, you might ask? Well, LeBron has a web series on his media platform Uninterrupted called The Shop, featuring him in a barber shop, while Alabama released a trailer for Shop Talk, featuring, you guessed it, Nick Saban in a barber shop. Uninterrupted sent Alabama a letter first obtained by ESPN accusing the school of copyright infringement, but the parties involved also had something to say. Here's Saban defending the Tide.
I think LeBron James is a great player. There's been at least 20 barbershop type things I've seen on TV. I didn't know anybody owned that. I didn't even know he had one. I'm sorry that anybody could be offended by something that we were just having fun with, and I enjoyed it, and we're going to continue to do it.
LeBron's response?
That's exactly what I would think he would say. But I built Uninterrupted for a reason, for us athletes to have a platform to be able to speak about, whatever we want to talk about. I respect him as a coach, but I'll be damned if I allow someone to use our platform or try to do the same thing we're doing and just think it's okay. So the lawyers will figure it out.
So are you Team LeBron or Team Saban here?
Well, respectfully to LeBron, yes, that's a great idea, but he's not the only person, not the first, not the last, to come up with the concept of barbershop conversations. I mean, you look at sports media as a whole, any network is going to say, oh, that's a good show idea. Here's two people debating sports. We're going to do our take on that. We're going to do this. And, two people debating sports in a studio is something that has been done and will be done again. And we're doing it right now. They're doing it on a lot of other networks, too. It's not taking away from the way anyone else does it. It's just, here's our take on it. Here's our chance to do it. So, yes, I do see that LeBron had that, and the Shop and Shop Talk are very closely, assimilated titles, but they're different. They're the same, but they're different takes.
Well, the cliche is sports arguments in a barbershop, so you are correct. It is not an inventive or innovative idea.
Right.
However, the titles and the timing
and the scissor graphics,
a wee bit suspect. The aesthetics, everything that's going on there.
We'll call it suspect, but, that's what it is. Until then, we will be back with our take on Sports Talk, 10:30 Eastern tomorrow morning. Until then, you can follow us on SI Now Live on Twitter and keep checking in on SI.com for all the latest sports news.
We don't go to the same barber.
No, we don't. Clearly.